Got a vision, got it to tell me, you know the rules, you definitely know how to fuck we play it. Yeah, we back at it like a crack addict, man. We giving you this live and direct from a different perspective, man, because for years, it's been poison put in the air. For years, it's been a perspective of one-sided information. And I'm here to bring a different side, a different light, a different volume. Because we have a narrative and a one-sided factor, and we shade out the other factor that has a lot of truth in it. And a lot of people don't even know about this. And I say this to say this. You wonder why. You wonder why the mouse is out the bag. Your hand was in the cookie jar and you're full of shit and you was doing a lot of fucking lying. And guess what? I'm going to bring it to the people. Because we had people that put this out there. We also had the young lady that put a book out a few years. But guess what? A lot of this information that this sister is bringing to the forefront, a lot of this information is not known. A lot of this information is not heard of. A lot of this information is not pivoted to the people in them. But me, yes, me. I'm going to make sure y'all get all that shit. All that right and exact information that the people should be getting. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's a lot of things that's been said. It's a lot of things that's been misled. And it's a lot of information that is not reaching the people. And we're going to make sure the truth is being shed. Big Pun sister. Nikki Rodriguez. Oh yeah, a lot of people like. Okay, Big Pun has sisters, family. Never heard of her. Right. We all heard years and years and years and years of Big Pun wife say so many things. Say so many things. Fat Joe never gave her money. Cuba Link goes with it to this day. I would never ever be cool with Joe, because what he did to Pun. I'm going to say the name again. Nikki Rodriguez. This is Big Pun, official blood sister. This is someone that knows Big Pun wife very well, extremely well. She tells a side of a story about Big Pun's wife that a lot of people don't know. A lot of shocking things. So when you see things today and you hear things about what Fat Joe did and why Fat Joe did this and he's foul, shit. I'm going to tell you this, man. Listen to what I'm telling you. After we examine this, all them court proceedings, when they said that Fat Joe took money that was belonging to her, and they said that they found out evidence that it's 100% true, guess what? I salute Fat Joe for taking that money from her. Yes, indeed. I know y'all gonna be like, whoa, that's some foul shit. The kids, man. Like, what? before you jump out the window and start motherfucking. Hell yeah, that's fucked up. Listen to this, man. This is Big Pun's sister, Nikki Rodriguez, you heard? Let's hear this. Let's hear this information you got to give to the people of them, you heard?
Yeah, he was aware of the infidelity. That was the first one. The son of the grocery store owner down the street in Bronx River from her mother's house. It's like a grocery store down the street. It was.
Exhibit A. This sister said earlier, this is in 1998 form. This is the time when Big Pun is Big Pun. He's the man, album platinum in the streets. Big Pun calls his sister, right? Calls his sister. And he says to the sister, yo, man, he got Big Pun wife on the phone, like calling me, like, yo, tell her what you told me, tell her what you said, tell her what you meant to me, tell her what you just admitted to me, tell her. She slept with the pizza owner in the Bronx River section. Somebody, a pizza owner, she slept with. Not only did she did that, she was sleeping on and off for like 2 to 3 years with Big Pun's brother.
Now, was this before? Was he just Chris Rios, or was he Big Pun at that time?
No, he was Big Pun. He was Big Pun. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this was about this was about 98, as I mentioned. So that was that, and then later on, before my brother's passing, maybe about a year and a half. Well, let me backtrack this. My brother has a brother from his father's side, named Vincent. And my brother just did not have good feeling about him. Vincent would always come around, and my brother would be like, I don't want that nigga here. You know, I'm not vibing him, not feeling him. And we're like, what's wrong, Chris? You know, why you think that? He's like, I just don't trust him. Just trust him. Well, it turns out, trust your gut. It turns out that Liza was having an affair with my brother's brother, Vincent, for about a year and a half before my brother's death. Wow. And to me, I say to myself, okay, if I'm in a situation, let's say my husband hits me, that you claim that he hits me regularly. The last thing I'm going to do is cheat in my same house that my husband has cameras and take the risk of him catching me. Right. That would be the last thing, but that happened. You know, she did that, you know, in the house. I mean, my niece Amanda, she was even aware. She liked him. You know, so you know that was really messed up. So my brother found out.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. There's thousands of stories of Big Pun doing a lot of crazy shit in the Bronx on a violent level. I remember the story. It's official story. This was in the Bronx sometime. Had an issue with some blood kid was talking wild reckless, man. This is in the books. Pun literally took his chain off. You know the big piece chain he had? And bang! Split the dude's face open. Pun. Right? It's BX shit, man. If you never heard about it, you ain't gonna find it on social media. You gotta be Bronx nigga to understand that, right? Right? I say this to say that, right? Pun was crazy, bro. Pun had guns. Pun had knives, machetes, Uzis. Pun was he wasn't there. He was the type to set it off, B. He was a problem for Terror Squad. He gave it up in the street. Did a lot of wild shit. Ladies, this is a nigga that you'll cheat on? I say this to say this. We all saw the videos. Pun, boom, hitting the girl in the face. You're fucking my brother. I'm lounging the snap. You know that song by Pun and Miss Jones, the Capital Punishment album, Punish Me. He was talking about their situation, man. Then they say, oh, he found, look what he did. Yeah, you fucking the pizza guy. You fucking my brother. She lucky the nigga didn't kill her, man.
About that, and he knew about it, and that's part of the reason why yesterday I did another interview and I had revealed that the reason me and Liza don't talk is because I felt that she has something to do with my brother's death. Wow. Whether it was negligence where she saw him suffering and didn't give him help, you know, possibly gave something to cause the heart attack, because I am in the medical field and there are things you can do. And I offered, you know, lie detector testing that I can pay for just to clear this up. I mean, it's 20 years. I mean, if someone's accusing me of something.
I'm sorry, I wanted to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to, before you get into that part of the show, I wanted to go back to the infidelity, because, you know, there's a video floating around the internet that's gone viral where we all see Big Pun pistol with Liza.
Yeah, that one video, that one incident.
Right. So a lot of people are painting Pun to be, you know, this domestic violence predator or abuser. So now that you say this is an exclusive part of Pun's story that no one ever knew. You know, right? Like the
ain't no
this side of what was
Pun bro was clapping her cheeks. I didn't know that.
And they have a lot of dignity, pride, and they don't want to say certain things that happen behind the scenes. But you know, now that we're learning of this, it puts things into perspective, because it's like, okay, we were seeing Pun, you know, he hit her that one time on video, and she claimed that it was an abusive relationship for 12 years. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't going on for 12 years. Who knows? Maybe it was a mutual abuse or mutual violence. We don't know, because we weren't there.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
One can only think. A person in Pun's shoes, you know, he's from the hood. He was raised. He was abused.
You don't fuck somebody's brother, yo. You don't. That's
was part of his demise.
That's a lot of weight for any man to hold, yo.
He was abused. I believe it was your
Leave
father.
the nigga. Don't fuck his brother.
He didn't get abused, but he was pretty militant with him.
Yeah, my father was very militant. He wasn't physically abusive, but he was very militant and very, I would say, emotional, because he was always comparing him to me, for example, because I was considered the brains. So that, you know, that bothered him.
Okay. And so maybe, well, Liza claims that he was abused by his stepfather, and maybe I'm saying if that was the case and that was to be true, I'm sure that could have brought a lot of his adulthood trauma, and, you know, maybe the anger management that he needed or whatever the case was. And then just finding out that his wife was, you know, cheating on him with his brother, that's huge. I mean, you know, anyone would probably lose their mind, especially somebody in his shoes. I'm not justifying it, because violence is not the answer.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, somebody like Pun that already had these childhood issues, to learn of his wife being unfaithful with his brother, his own sibling.
That's crazy. I never knew this.
It's a hard pill to swallow. You know
I never knew this.
Who knows if that?
And we felt sorry for this chick.
We
felt sorry for this chick. Oh, boo-hoo.
Are people within her circle who plan the interviews and ask the questions that cater to her. So they're not asking her, have you ever had an infidelity? Have you ever cheated? Have you ever hit him too? Right. No, they don't ask that. They're asking things that are catering to her. Right. Just like
boy, you gotta bring the truth out sometimes, man. That's what we're here to do. I got a vision, got it to table. You know the roots, definitely not a block we play, you heard?
Things. And people, because they were afraid, either afraid because, you know, that she might bully them or what have not, they didn't speak up, you know, and I was much younger then. So I'm in a position where I have no problem speaking up, and I know so much, and I think that I should not die with everything that I know.
Right.
People need to know, because at the end of the day, I keep saying it over and over again, my loyalty is to my brother. You know what I mean? And it's not fair. You know, no one's perfect.
I want to say this, yo. It's so much more You go to YouTube right now, you type in Nikki Rodriguez. There's a 5-part interview of this. I only heard one, and this one part is an hour flat. I heard it's much more that she says. I heard just one, and I'm like, what the fuck? We out here, feeling sorry for the chick. We out here saying, she's been in the shelter. Yo, first of all, we all know about the court documents. We all know about, they said about Fat Joe. She was supposed to get a percent, and Fat Joe was supposed to get a percent, and he was taking it. I'll probably get to the part when Nikki says it, but she expressed that Fat Joe gave her $250K twice. While this female, Pun's wife, sit there 1,000 times and said, he didn't give me nothing. If I give somebody $20, I want you to feel appreciated. So imagine giving somebody $250K, 2 different rounds, and you come out and tell the people he didn't give me nothing. I know people with $150K know how to not to get in the shelter if they had to give it to them. How the fuck did you get $250K twice, but you end up in the shelter? And then you tell the people for years that man never gave you nothing. Let's continue on, people.
Definitely no man should hit a woman, and no woman should hit a man either.
Right.
Okay, so let's make that straight. So, relationships where you guys go at it to each other off and on, and you might throw some at him or what have not. Both of y'all are wrong at the end of the day. So it's not appropriate for neither person. But definitely, yeah, that was another reason why all the things I was getting my suspicions about, that she had did something to him. That was another thing that added on to build up my suspicion. I was like, did Vincent have something to do with this with her? Because he's been off the face of the earth since then. Since then, I mean, completely face of the earth. Like, where are you? Like, hiding. And then also what added to the suspicion is something that I learned from my cousin Booby. I hope that he's watching, because if he is, if it's possible, you could put your phone number up there so he can call in and give the story from his point of view. But my cousin Booby, shout out to him. He was my brother's right-hand man, Alan Conyers. So, if you guys were around, you know exactly who he is. And that was that's my brother to this day. And he becomes my brother, it still feels that. But two things. My sister-in-law, 2 weeks before my brother passed away, she told my cousin Booby, Alan Conyers, that I guarantee you Pun's not going to be here in 2 weeks.
Wow.
How could you guarantee, the words guarantee, how could you guarantee that your husband's not going to be here? Is there something that you know that we don't know?
Right. Wow.
Okay?
You hear this, people?
During this time, her cousin Scorpio,
this is Big Pun's sister, yo.
Just like a hiding, don't know where he is, was in the middle of looking in a computer, and he was telling my cousin Booby ways that you could kill someone where it doesn't show.
Wow.
So now 2 weeks before my brother's death, her cousin Scorpio, who is like her brother, she loves him to death, was researching how to kill someone and it not show. You're saying you guarantee he's not going to be here within 2 weeks. You're in a relationship with his brother that's been going on for already a year and a half. Things don't look too good. And you definitely are not telling people this, because I watched every interview that she's made and she's never mentioned any of these things. And when my brother passed away, who's with him when he passed away? She's with him.
Was this ever investigated? Was there a proper autopsy that proved it was his heart?
Yeah. I'm so happy you asked that. I have his autopsy, and I actually got it 2 different occasions, maybe 8 years apart, just to see if there was a change or a difference, and there wasn't. Okay, I have them both. Now, if any of you guys are watching, and even you two that are interviewing me, you can go right now on the internet and say, how long does it take to do a full, complete autopsy? You're gonna see weeks to months that it can take. A partial, an immediate one, a quick rush one, can be done within 24 hours. Okay, my brother always said, if I ever die, I want to be buried with my father. And then later on, all of us are buried with him as well. Why cremate him? Why rush to cremate him? Okay, so that just it just hasn't been sitting right with me for 20 years, and it eats me up because I look back now 20 years when I was younger, and I said, wow, I wish I had the heart that I have now, the guts that I have now, because I would have said, wait a minute, don't do that autopsy. I need an investigation. So what happens is now evidence is burned, right? But the wonderful thing is, because I studied forensics, technology has changed, honey. So that's the great thing. It's different now. But that's how it was. It's like the evidence is burned. If she did this again, I've been asking for a lie detector test, and I'm asking now just to clear everything from my expense. I'll pay for it, and you could take a lie detector test, and I'll pay for all of it, clarifying the cause of my brother's death, any involvement in my brother's death, the affairs in your own home. I would pay for, and that would be expensive, honey. But I'll pay for each and every one of them to confirm everything. Okay.
This is the bitch that Fat Joe did so dirty, huh?
Within the 20
Fuck
years,
out
yes,
of here.
I suggested the lie detector test, but I don't get a response or reply, and I don't get a no either. But I don't get a okay. Let me think about it either. It's just like ignore it. I'm not gonna reply. Just a few days ago, for example, I had reached out to her and asked her, could I have some of his ashes? Because I've never seen my brother's ashes, and my mother, she's gonna go. She's not gonna be here very much longer. According to her doctor, she's not doing well. She hasn't even seen her son's ashes in 20 years. Not only hasn't she seen her grandkids, she hasn't seen her son's urn. So I asked her a few days ago, Liza, can you give me, a little bit so I could make a little urn for me and my mom or whatever? But what it is, she just don't respond. So she'll respond to what she wants to respond to, but if she doesn't want to respond, she just don't respond. So, I was hoping that could be something that could be left,
that shouldn't even have been a request, As the wife myself, I would have a problem. That's just the love in me, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't even have been 20 years. It would have been...
Like I said, it's so much layers to peel on this chick that I did not know.
So,
and this is Big Pun's sister. She also got a book out that you can find and really get deep into it. Don't look at me and say I'm tapping and just hating and all that. Do your own investigation. She got a book out too.
Not even size. So just tell the truth of what was going on during that time. Because people need to know.
I don't want to talk over the sister. But I want to say one thing. Hey, Panda Chop, how come you never interview Nikki Rodriguez? What's this? The dialogue nigga, the guy that got Cuban Link interviewing, all the dialogue. Why nobody never interviewed motherfucking Nikki Rodriguez? Vlad. Why nobody never interviewed Nikki Rodriguez, Big Pun's sister? They damn near lived with each other. Pun's wife, huh? I didn't know she was having sex with the brother. I didn't know she was having sex with the pizza guy in Bronx River. She said Fat Joe didn't give her nothing. Nothing? You might hear what I can say, but y'all can do your own investigation. And she's gonna express how Fat Joe gave her $250K 2 times. But later after that, you end up in a shelter. How?
to know because his kids only know her side.
Right, and I've seen past interviews where her son, he's the junior, has stated that he's witnessed his father abusing mom. Is he the eldest of her children?
That's another thing. I would love for you guys. This is like a research assignment, okay?
Right.
That's what
we do.
What you just said. I want you all, if you can, go to all my nephew's videos.
By the way,
and
Punch Sister, she's
where he says
she's
that
an attractive young
he don't
lady.
remember his father. He don't remember anything. And you're gonna find another video where he says,
look up
he
Nikki
remembers
Rodriguez.
witnessing. So which one is it? So it's the video of him from his mouth. With one interview, he's saying that he don't remember his father. He was too young. And then another one, he's saying that he remember. So come on,
That's
which one
true.
is it? I personally.
When Pun died, you was like 5 years old.
He was little.
You don't know nothing about your pops. You knew him. He was in your life. But you don't got wild memories.
They were little. They were little. If anything, Amanda was the awful.
Yeah.
But baby,
She was 9.
He don't remember anything. He doesn't remember anything.
Liza, correct?
You at least be like 15 or 16 to remember good things about your parents, man.
Only children
And if
in
you
life.
can live, if
That
they
we
can
know
live
of.
on
I mean, that I
as
know.
you
I
older,
don't
then great.
remember
But at
anything.
5 and 4 and
I
9,
don't know.
and you get older,
So,
you're not gonna remember
But at
shit.
the end of the day, it just things just don't make sense. And I'm telling you, if she was to do this for me and do the lie detector test, and it came back, she said a truth for everything, I go on my knees in public in front of the screen and apologize. I don't feel that's gonna happen though. I don't feel that's gonna be the outcome. There's a reason why she doesn't want to do lie detector tests. There's a reason
This is
why.
the woman we was feeling
Because
sorry
if
for.
me or something, and I could have peace by finally just getting it done. Like, okay, let me just do the test so that you can shut up and leave me alone.
Right.
I'll do it because I have nothing to hide. But you don't want to. It's 20 years later, and you don't want to. Even, for example, I had mentioned before my other video. She said she put a gun to my brother's head while he was sleeping. That's the only part that I didn't put in my other interview. It was while he was sleeping. So while my brother's sleeping, you put a gun to my brother's head, and then you say, "No, forget it. I don't want to shoot him because my kids will be with our father." But you come again another day and do it again.
Wow.
And you come again another day and you do it again because you say you did it 3 times. It shows you're capable. It shows you're capable.
It's a premeditated thought.
Yeah, you admit that you set up, and I'll pay for life.
This is Big Pun's sister, yo.
We all know, you know
Blood
what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we
sister,
did see
yo.
the infamous video of Pun hitting her with the MAC-10.
Mm-hmm.
She's always stated that he had hit her at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
Is her pulling out these guns on him, allegedly, is these reactions to maybe a beatdown that may have happened earlier that night, or, you know what I mean? Like, because, you know, most of us women, we ain't just waking up wanting to do something like that to our men, unless there was something like dramatic that had happened. Now, is she doing this because of this? Has she given you reasons why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to understand her motive. Like, what was the reason why you were all doing this?
Her reason why was that that was her opportunity to get rid of him. He was sleeping. She said she was too scared to do it when he's awake, but she did it when he was sleeping, but she couldn't do it. You know that she couldn't do it. I'm so glad she did it. But that just told me, you know, you're capable. And I'm saying to myself, are you even thinking when you're talking? Because you're saying all this, you know, and this is just adding to the suspicion. I mean, you keep saying things. I don't know if you think before you talk, but you keep saying things that just keeps adding to the suspicion. It's hard for me to move on or get over it because every time I kind of want to leave it alone, you say something else that's like,
Is she saying this to you or through third parties?
To me. And again, that what I just mentioned, I will pay for a lie detector test for her to take to be asked that question too, for that one. This is costly because it's a million questions, but I'll pay for them all.
Right.
To clarify.
That's what
yes. And I also have proof.
Well, listen, when I heard you making these claims, man, the first thing I thought was, wow, these are some really huge claims. Like, you're basically accusing your sister-in-law or the mother of your, nieces and nephews of murder. Or you're saying that you feel that could have been the case. You're not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying exactly. I'm not saying she is, because that wouldn't be fair. I'm not. I can't say she's a murderer because I don't have any proof of that.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that I've confronted her 20 years ago and other instances in between where I'm telling her that I'm telling her this. I know that you killed my brother, and this is why, because you told me this and you told me that, and you was doing this then. You were having an affair. Things just so it just don't make no sense. You know what I mean? And you don't want to do a lie detector test. What's really going on? Where is your cousin? Why is he fell off the face of the earth? Where is my brother's brother, Vincent? Where is he? Why everybody's hiding? Why is everybody hiding?
Vincent was having sex
you alone. It's just you and
with
him
Pun's
together
wife,
by yourself.
And she was sleeping with the pizza guy
When you made this huge
in
claim,
Bronx
maybe
River,
revisit the documentary, because I've seen the documentary many years ago, and a lot of things were blurred. But I know when I watched it for the first time, initially, I felt something's not sitting right with me about Big Pun's death, and I'm like, I can't really pinpoint it at the moment, but something's not sitting right. And then at that time, the internet was just pretty much starting up. We didn't really have the internet the way we do now. It was harder to get news across to the world and communicate with each other and put things together. But now it's like, okay, we got the internet. We can do investigations. We can do our own research. And I had to revisit that documentary, and certain things that I just saw Liza claim and speak on, like she was claiming that at one point she was helping Big Pun bathe, and she was helping him dress, and she was helping him do the everyday things that we're supposed to be doing that he couldn't do on his own because he had massively gained weight and he was overweight. So,
and that's the other thing. She was tired. She was tired of doing all of this. She was tired of it.
Like the weight she was carrying. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like she felt like, okay, I got a load on my back. Because she said it on the documentary. It was like if I was his caretaker. I was, you know what I'm saying? Like she was one of his
wife. He married you. That's what a wife's supposed to do.
The fuck? Cleaning him up and stuff like that. You're dealing with fecal matter, urine, stuff like that. And then I hear her say in the same documentary, the day he was choking on his. First of all, you asked her. She calls you up. You already had left to Florida, I believe. And she's like, Pun is not really breathing well. But the day before that, you was over at Pun's house with her, weren't you?
No, my brother was my brother was in a hotel. My brother was in a hotel with Liza, yeah. Okay. Because their house in the BX was getting, renovated. So
I remember they were talking about when Pun was so
now she's saying that she didn't give him CPR because he was foaming out the mouth. My thing is, if you cleaning him up, you was bathing him, you was doing everything else that probably a weak stomach person couldn't do. Why couldn't you give him CPR while he was foaming out the mouth?
He's your husband. He's your husband. Like you just said, you did all the things you just said you did. You wiped his ass, you this and that. This is what you're saying. But
right.
When he's so-called dying in front of you, you couldn't do CPR because he had foam in his mouth. But that's my husband. He got shit in his mouth, and I'm still gonna save my husband. And let me tell you something too. I'm not married.
I got no comment on
but
this.
But if I'm in a position where I am married, even me being with someone for a very long time, that's like being married, right? If that was to happen, you're not gonna know. You guys not gonna know my business. It's none of your business that I clean my husband's ass or whatever, because that's my husband. He's mine, and I'm taking care of him. It's none of you guys' business.
Right.
When he's alive or when he's dead. You know what I mean? So I think that's very tacky and very distasteful.
We didn't need to know that about Pun. We didn't need to know that she was doing that for him. But you don't have to.
There's so much
stuff. But come on, that's why I feel, and I'm gonna say it again. And it was like an immediate thing that hit me. I said, oh no, he didn't have a natural heart attack. No, he did not.
It's the chick we felt sorry for.
Like I mentioned, a Heimlich maneuver. If someone's choking, you know what to do to save them, but you just don't do it because you I pray that it just keep choking, keep not breathing. When you could have intervened and done something to help him. I just prolonged him long enough for the professionals to come.
She
And then
took
on
some
top of
lessons.
hold on, and then on top of that, this is from the same camp that was at in the next room. They're knocking, trying to get in the room, and you're not opening the door? Why? Why are you taking so long to open the door? You need help. You need help. Open the door. Let everyone in to help. Why are you stalling? So,
Wow.
just these are things that every interview when I was in my
This is
quiet
what
time
this the chick we
before,
felt sorry for.
and held everything in.
Really?
And I would just watch the documentaries, and I would say to myself, that's not true. That's not the whole story, you know? And then people around me were like, Nicole, say something, say something. But I couldn't at the time because I was in school, you know. I was young. I was still getting my life together.
Yeah.
But it's something that never left me. And I said, I promised myself, before I die, everyone's gonna know. Everyone needs to know. It's only fair.
It's only fair, goddammit.
I feel like she took too long to call. I mean, she waited long. She says it in the documentary. She waited long for that. She didn't want to call right away. People that
wait for him to die. Wait for him to die. She wants make sure that he's officially dead before making any moves. And the funny thing is that a lot of people felt this way, but no one says it, to her. People say behind the scenes through conversation to one another, like, I feel the same way, and I didn't know you felt that way. I felt that way too, and like speak up. But I'm definitely speaking up, and I'm not gonna stop.
Well, it's a huge claim when you think about it and when you hear it. But when you go back to the ending of that documentary, she states that Big Pun's death was one of the saddest days, but also one of the best days of her life because she was able to move forward with her life.
What? You know what I mean? I totally
remember what you said.
And I mean, come on.
I mean,
I was married once before. My husband, I couldn't stand him, but I wouldn't wish that on him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want some, I wouldn't. Just do it the right way. You do it the right way. You go to court, you get a divorce, you separate, and you move on. That's the way, it should be done.
I mean, if at least she was cheating, then I don't see why would she be scared to leave.
She wasn't. I mean, I'll say it again. If you're that scared of your partner, the last thing you're gonna do is do anything to upset them. Anything to upset them. Anything that's gonna provoke them. You're gonna go to your same house, and your husband could trick you and end up coming home early because you might think that he's on a tour and he actually was testing you and might come back in the house. Come on, like this is ridiculous. I understand they did have issues. Yes, my brother put his hands on her. Yes, that is true. But you need to understand too that I mentioned it's not right for any man to hit a woman.
Right.
It's also not right for a woman to act during the normal day-to-day routine, act like they're a man.
Right.
It confront. I don't know if you ever saw a situation where the woman gets the altercation with her man and she gets all swollen and like, I'll do this to you, whatever. And then he knocks the shit out of her. Because she's coming at him like she's a dude. You're not feminine. It's not like you're very feminine and fragile and petite. You come off like a dude yourself. You know what I mean? But regardless, no one should put their hands on one another at the end of the day. Because again, that was one video. That was one video.
Right. You mentioned that you guys were almost like sisters, and
Yeah, but I never did.
Right. At what point did it go left? Because I too watched the first documentary that came out many years ago, and Liza stated that on the day they got married, she was 17 years old, and her dad had to sign some documents, to let the marriage go forth. But she mentioned that no one was there other than your mom and her dad as witnesses.
Yeah, well,
so, was there a problem then? Was it because of her age? Was it? And I also seen that Pun had came into some lawsuit money that was, given to him from a previous accident as a child. Yeah. Did you guys have an issue with her then, or you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get to the root of where you guys went, where everything just went.
Yeah, what the time that you're speaking about, I was very young. I was like 10.
Okay.
My mother was actually at a rehab. She was getting clean because she was, proud of her. She
wasn't at the wedding.
No, I'll call her right now. She's upstairs.
No, I'm just going. You know what I mean? I did a crash course today.
Yeah. She was at Good Samaritan Village. It was a rehab upstate New York, and she was there.
It's a lot.
And I actually was in the foster system. And same with my grandmother.
I heard
in Miami.
this whole part one, and I'm like, wow.
I was like 10. My mother was in a rehab. So plus they got the money for the lawsuit, and they got excited and eloped, and everything was quick. So that's why there was nothing going on.
Right, because the way her tone of using, you know what I mean, in that one little clip and segment she was speaking, it made it seem as if we had nobody. You know what I mean? We didn't have nobody to invite. Nobody wanted her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to know, was there issues then?
Yeah. No, my mother was in a rehab. I was in foster care. Yeah, and I was young, and he got the money, and everything moved things quick, and got married fast. I'm sure that was my brother's idea because he adored her and he loved her to death. And that's why that happened.
So what point did it go left for you? When you just started looking at her with the side eye?
Well, when I started having feelings,
right,
my feelings started changing for her. Was, I would say, like around 98, around the time that she admitted, cheating, because like a disappointment. It's kind of like, oh, come on, and it just like never really got right there, but we still got along. But inside you're like disappointed in the person, but what really did it was that's the death. Yeah,
and that's fair. That's so valid. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's sad because you have my niece and nephews, and they don't know. They only know her side. They only know that part, and it's not fair.
Yeah, people. Definitely, indeed, is not fair. Listen, y'all. It's a lot. There's 5 parts to it. That first part is an hour long. And I was already appalled. I went to this little bit of the second part. And don't take my word for it. You can do the research for yourself. This female said time to time, Fat Joe gave her nothing. This sister said that's a lie. Sister said 250K was passed to her. Boom. Another 250K later on the line was passed to her. After that 500K was blown and was gone, you had nothing to show for. You had to go in the shelter. Another thing that pissed me the fuck off that the sister said, you gotta look into it. Because it's so long, man. So many layers to pull back. The sister said, when Pun died, the girl took Pun ashes. It was at a stage, at a party, at a club. It was on stage with Pun ashes flossing. When she got some of that money, she was getting bent, she was getting lit, she was doing a lot of stupid shit and not spending the money wisely. Fat Joe said, yo, open a beauty salon. You good with hair? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. No beauty salon. Gave another 250K. Now he's screaming in the shelter. So the judge found out that it was money that's supposed to go between Fat Joe and the wife. You give someone 500K and they do dumbass choices, and they said Fat Joe was pocketing the money. Fat Joe, you know what, my nigga, you did the right thing. I'm glad you was pocketing that money. And guess what? You paid it the $4 million because you got caught. Like they said that you was dead. You gave him the $4 million. This bitch is still talking. Imagine all that money you would have gave to her. What the dumb shit she would have did. She sacrificed her family, got 500K out the deal, and they ended up in the shelter. How, Sway? How? It doesn't add up. And this is the motherfucker we was feeling for. And this is the motherfucker that lied and said Fat Joe gave her nothing. Nothing. Look, man, do the research, look for yourself. Nikki Rodriguez, just type it in. It's a series, pop up as 5 different parts. Pun wife is a scumbag, y'all. If nobody ain't gonna say it, I am. Color Vision got the 10, you know the rules. You definitely not a fuck we play, you heard?